Title: Beyond AI, the Fiscal Math That Governs U.S. Monetary Policy. Flint West Dispatch, Special Transmission. All right, saddle up, because everybody's out here pointing at the wrong monster. They're talking about AI taking jobs, robots eating the labor market, algorithms marching down Main Street like it's Judgment Day. Cute story. Makes great thumbnails. But if you actually follow the money, not the headlines, you'll see the real ghost in the machine. And brother, it ain't AI, it's math. Ugly, rigid, unforgiving math. The kind of math that doesn't blink. The kind that makes presidents sweat and bond traders walk taller than they should. Let me show you the backstage entrance. Act 1. The equation that runs the empire. There's a single line of algebra sitting in the basement of every U.S. policy decision like a half-feral goblin. Primary balance is greater than or equal to open parentheses R minus G, close parentheses, multiplied by debt divided by GDP. That's it. That's the whole thing. America's invisible constitution. PB is what the government takes in minus what it spends before interest. R is the interest rate on the national debt. G is nominal growth, meaning real growth plus inflation. D is that massive 122% debt to GDP boulder we're balancing on our backs. Plug the numbers in and you get a simple verdict. The United States is running a bigger primary deficit than the math allows. We're past the line. We're in red zone territory. We're in don't poke the bond market land. And now you understand the first rule of modern America. The bond market is the Senate, the CFO, and God. Everyone else is just pretending. Act 2. Why rate cuts are a loaded gun. People think the Fed cuts rates because it cares about jobs. Nah. That's the bedtime story. The real problem is this. If Powell cuts too early, nominal growth G rises because inflation rises. Inflation makes the debt look smaller. That part is fine. That part even helps. But then the bondholders wake up. You juice inflation in a high-debt environment, and every serious investor says, cute trick, now pay me more for holding your paper. So, long-term yields jump. 10-year, 20-year, 30-year, all ripping higher. And guess what's happening at the same time? All that old cheap debt from the low-rate era? It's expiring, rolling off, being reissued at higher yields. It's like refinancing your house every year, at worse and worse rates. Suddenly, the government's interest bill balloons, the equation gets uglier, and the whole fiscal structure starts creaking like a haunted ship. That's the real trap. Cutting rates too early doesn't create jobs. It invites a bondholder revolt. AI isn't the threat. Refinancing is. Act 3. The misdiagnosis. So when someone says, what if cutting rates leads companies to invest more in AI instead of people? They're not wrong in spirit. Yes, cheap money chases efficiency. But that's not why the Fed hesitates. That's not the hand on the trigger. The Fed hesitates because the room is full of dynamite. The Fed hesitates because the debt equation is underwater. The Fed hesitates because long-term yields are one bad decision away from going thermonuclear. We're not in a tug-of-war between workers and robots. We're in a standoff between the Treasury and the bond desk. And robots don't revolt. Bondholders do. Act 4. The Flint verdict. Here's the truth, straight and sharp. Monetary policy isn't being guided by AI. It's being dictated by arithmetic. And arithmetic has no mercy. Cut rates too fast, inflation jumps. Inflation jumps, long yields spike. Long yields spike. Interest costs explode. Interest costs explode. Debt sustainability collapses. Debt sustainability collapses. The empire wobbles. That's the chain. That's the choreography. That's the real monster under the bed. AI? AI is just the sideshow, the shiny distraction, the convenient villain. But the fiscal math, that quiet ancient demon, that's what keeps the Fed awake at night. And until Washington gets its primary balance in line with the laws of physics, every talk of quick cuts is just whistling past the graveyard. Transmission ends. Flint West signing off.